Don't feed Hecarim. Hecarim is a fast, highly mobile melee champion who deals a mix of physical and magic damage. 3 of his abilities deal area damage, and all of his abilities can be cast while moving without interrupting movement. Hecarim's passive is Warpath. Hecarim ignores unit collision, meaning he can move freely through units without pathing around them. Additionally, Hecarim gains a significant percentage of his bonus movement speed as attack damage. This only applies to movement speed beyond his base speed, such as movement speed provided by items and abilities. If he is slowed below his base movement speed, he will not receive an attack damage bonus. Hecarim's Rampage is a full circle AoE that deals physical damage in a small area around him. This ability has a short cooldown. If he hits an enemy unit with the ability, he gains a buff that decreases the base cooldown of the ability. This buff can be stacked twice, dramatically reducing the cooldown of the ability. While the spell shield will block the damage from this ability, Hecarim will still gain a stack of the buff for successfully breaking the shield. This ability deals half damage to minions. Hecarim's Spirit of Dread creates a temporary aura around him that deals magic damage over its duration. Additionally, Hecarim heals a percentage of the damage his opponents take while they are within the aura. This healing is derived from all sources of damage they take, meaning the damage from other abilities, items, summoner spells, and other champions will count towards the healing. Hecarim is limited in how much he can heal from minions. This cap is relatively low and is shared among all minions he deals damage to. Spirit of Dread ignores spell shields. Hecarim's Devastating Charge dramatically increases his movement speed, with the bonus increasing periodically over the course of several seconds. While the buff is active, his next normal attack will cause him to trample over his target, then pull them forward with him. This attack gains a base amount of bonus damage, plus additional bonus damage based on how far he has traveled from where he first activated the ability. Once Hecarim attacks, he immediately loses the bonus movement speed. Because Hecarim first moves over his target, it is possible for him to use this ability to dodge point-blank skill shots from the target. Once Hecarim begins the attack that knocks an opponent back, there is a brief window of time where an opponent can still flash or use other blink abilities. If the opponent does so, they will be knocked away from Hecarim based on their new location. This effectively means that a well-timed flash or blink ability will create a very large distance gap between Hecarim and the opponent. Devastating Charge is not affected by spell shields in any way. Devastating Charge resets Hecarim's swing timer, meaning it can be used to quickly deal additional damage. The bonus damage is effective against structures. Devastating Charge will still move Hecarim forward if he is snared. Hecarim's ultimate is Onslaught of Shadows. When cast, Hecarim jumps to a nearby location, dealing a small amount of magic damage in an area around where he lands. Any enemy units in this area are briefly feared, moving in a straight line away from Hecarim's location. While in flight, Hecarim is completely immune to disables. However, the ability cannot be activated if Hecarim is already crowd-controlled. Hecarim can travel over walls with this ability. There is also a wide skill shot component to Onslaught of Shadows. When cast, Spectral Riders charge in a straight line towards the location cast. These will always travel to the maximum potential distance of the ability, meaning they can travel past where Hecarim lands. Any enemy units in this path are dealt a moderate amount of magic damage. As a note, Onslaught of Shadows does not appear to function correctly with spell shields at this time. The ability will instantly consume spell shields, but spell shields do not block any part of the ability, meaning both the damage and the fear are still applied. When playing against Hecarim, there are a few primary things to keep in mind. In draft mode, there are several ways you can counter Hecarim. First, champions with very strong slows, such as Nasus, are good at countering not only his damage, but his ability to initiate or escape with Devastating Charge. Exhaust works for this as well. Additionally, hard crowd controls and strong duelists that can go toe-to-toe with Hecarim are ideal. Most of Hecarim's attributes revolve around initiating and, when necessary, escaping. However, champions that can handle him without needing to back off themselves will do well. Don't get greedy in your lane. Because of his devastating charge and Onslaught of Shadows ultimate, once Hecarim is level 6 he can quickly get into a fight from positions beyond your normal warding areas. Once you see him, it may be too late to back off, even if you do so immediately. If Flash is available and you need to escape from Hecarim, try to wait until he attempts to knock you back with devastating charge. If timed well, the knockback can move you even further in the direction you flash, completely negating the ability. As of the time this video was made, Hecarim has 2 initiating abilities that cannot be blocked by spell shields. This may or may not be intended, but for as long as it is the case, understand the Banshee's Veil will not counter him as effectively as other items, such as movement speed, slowing, or pure survivability items. Never underestimate Hecarim's ability to catch up to you. Unlike similarly fast champions such as Rammus, Volibear, Skarner, and Singed, Hecarim also has a gap closer with his ultimate. Don't forget that he cannot be disabled while in flight, and make sure you save any hard crowd controls until after he's landed. Unless Hecarim is a primary target and is carrying his team or making it impossible for your team to acquire kills, don't focus him until their damage dealers have been handled. Because of his Spirit of Dread aura, he has enormous healing potential while his teammates are dishing out damage. If you do need to focus him down, try to do so after his aura expires, or when you're otherwise not taking much damage. When playing as Hecarim, you'll need to get used to his mobility and your options for initiating or disrupting opponents in fights. Hecarim is a strong harasser, in that he can quickly move in, deal damage, and move out. While laning, this is particularly easy when facing opponents without hard crowd controls, and Hecarim should put pressure on opponents as frequently as his cooldowns are available, providing doing so will not return more damage back to him. Timing and positioning of Spirit of Dread is important to maximizing the health gained from the ability. It can be useful to wait until you have stacks of Rampage before activating the ability, as a cooldown reduction on Rampage will allow you to heal from damage dealt by multiple Rampage swings. In teamfights, saving the ability until you've already taken significant damage and your team is laying down damage on your opponents can offer outstanding results, particularly if the enemy team continues to focus on you while it's active. This is especially true if you've built him tanky. With Devastating Charge, you'll want to get familiar with the duration of the movement speed buff. In many cases, you will want to get behind your target's path and knock them back towards you or your teammates, so knowing exactly how long you have to achieve this is helpful. When choosing between 2 targets to knock back, it can be better to choose an opponent who does not currently have a flash or blink ability available. If you can fake out a flash or blink from one opponent but knock back another, that's even better. With Onslaught of Shadows, keep in mind that it can be used just as well to escape as to initiate. However, the ability has a very long cooldown, and using it as an escape can have a severe impact on your ability to engage in teamfights successfully. Onslaught of Shadows does not deal much damage unless you've stacked ability power. Because of this, it can be better to save it in smaller fights until it's necessary, and make sure to use it in larger fights for the flee mechanic. Thanks for watching this Don't Feed. Be sure to subscribe with the button on the upper right. Check out my previous movie in this series, Don't Feed Lulu, by clicking the movie thumbnail on the right. I've written a book on League of Legends called Learn the League. If you love these movies, I strongly recommend checking out the book at www.learntheleague.com. I stream League of Legends Monday through Friday here on YouTube at about 3 p.m. Pacific Time. Make sure you like me on my Facebook page and follow me on Twitter for updates. As always, check the movie information box below for general thoughts and series updates, and let your friends know about this series to help promote it in the League of Legends community. Also, make a post on the official League of Legends forum thread linked below if you really enjoy the series.